Uh, a good afternoon, good morning, everyone. How are you? Kimberly, could you just confirm that you can hear me and you can unmute yourself and so that we can start. Kimberly, you can and welcome. Okay, I could see you. Are you still here? Yes. Not able to unmute myself. Uh, Nani, TMU Zoom team, could you just ensure that Kimberly can unmute herself? Give her powers too. Confirm to me that you've done that, then we can start. Welcome, everyone. Could you ask also everyone else who is supposed to be here? And we will start shortly. But I want to be sure that one, Kimberly is able to unmute, and two, she's able to unmute herself. We can see her as well. Try again. Can you try again? Mine, when I didn't have powers, I couldn't unmute, but now they've given me powers and I've now unmuted myself. Try again. Yes. Kimberly, could you try again? Or the TMU's team, could you just confirm to me that you've given her the power, the rights? The team, just speak back to me so that we know where where the problem is. Team, one last thing. We are starting the next for 3 to 4 minutes. But in the meanwhile, I want to ask that the team where you come through for me. Kimberly, have you tried? Try again. Kimberly is saying she can't unmute herself. I've become host. Okay, then that is. I'm told I have powers to Kimberly.
Yes, finally. Now I can unmute myself. Can you hear me?
Hello?
Hello. Good morning. Can you hear me?
We can hear you loud and clear.
Perfect.
Let me remove this.
But I'm also not able to start my video, so you have to do that for me as well.
Okay, so let me see. I've been given powers that I may not know how to use, but let me see. Okay, Kimberly. Yes, so I I want to ask you. I can see this. I allow to make whole screen, allow to record, allow, okay, allow to record the computer. No, 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 no. I want to allow you to unmute. Okay. I can see. Now, you guys, you've given me power that I don't know how to use. One last thing. Let me try again. Let me try again. Okay. Well, what I'll do is, Kimberly, I'll make you host because
Okay.
that gives you power to whatever. Then let me make you host and try.
All right.
I don't know why I don't have powers to co-host, but if I give you powers to host, what have you seen? Can your video come on? Perfect.
Yes.
Very well. Welcome very much,
Thank
Kimberly.
you.
Karibu sana, Tomboya University, CMG, Argus Codex Faculty of Law. We are only but 1 month and, well, at least officially,
Yeah.
we are just about a few weeks old. And
Wow.
we have this privilege this is a very first event that we are hosting as a school and as a faculty. I want to ask to the students that are in that welcome to this event. We will be having periodically these events. And let me just start by introducing to you CMG Ergens College Faculty of Law is at Tomboya University. We have a dream to help recreate the vision of greatness and patriotism that the two pioneers after which we are named, first Tomboya himself at the university, and secondly CMD Argus College, who was the first Black Kenyan barrister. And many times people have called him the Mau Mau or advocate, because it took the British government to court over many Mau abuses and helped realize a lot of those cases. Now, today we have privilege to have Kimberly speak to us. And Kimberly, I've known Kimberly since 2015, 14 or 15, yes, 14, 15.
14. Yeah.
15, 14,
Yes.
yes. And the first instance when I met Kimberly, she was I was working for the ICSC, but she was a student at Moi University School of Law. And they had come. I was then in charge of the All Africa Boot Camp competition, and they had come and they had done so well. They won, and they went to Arusha, and we became friends afterwards. Now, for the All Africa Boot Camp competition. But after that, I joined Moi University School of Law, and we became friends. And in many instances, I have seen Kimberly grow. But that which is true of her, is that she has always lived in her head, dreaming bigger than what is seen. Because I know, at least in our time, Kimberly is the first one to have gone to some of the places that she went to. After Kimberly graduated from the Moi University School of Law, she went to the Kenya School of Law like everyone else is expected to do. But even as she was doing that, she was making applications to go to places. She ended up at University of Cape Town, where she studied in a master's, international masters of law. And then after that, from Cape Town, she did a few jobs, including working for the UN, working for many other research companies. And then she worked in United Nations Refugee for UNRWA, based in Palestine and other places, in Amman. She has worked for United Nations, UNODC in Nairobi, and she also has an expertise that spans international treaty analysis, contract drafting, regulatory compliance, with prior experience in both academic and corporate settings. I want to confirm to you that that was not enough. Having a master's from the University of Cape Town was not enough for her, and she wanted to get to one of the best. The University of Oxford has, over the years, been top 5, or as long as I can remember, a university global ranking has been. And she went into a very prestigious program called their Masters of Science in Refugee and Post-Migration Studies. And she has been able to finish that as well. And as being the very good student that she is, she has been kept at Oxford, now working in their commercial law, in their contracts and funding team. She specializes in drafting and negotiating research agreements and ensuring data protection, compliance, and supporting complex academic collaborations. Now, today we have asked that Kimberly talks about how people, anyone, you and I, can have dreams and realize them, sometimes without examples to follow. Sometimes, for example, you will see, as all of you will, Kimberly, as I finish speaking, maybe I'll ask you to give me back posts and I also status so that I can admit anyone. But if there's anyone that is waiting, please admit them. Trading paths of untrodden, or the, trading paths untrodden in pursuit of excellence. Ladies and gentlemen, we are privileged to meet Kimberly today. And the reason why I call it a privilege is because you have no other examples to follow. And the standards that you're going to set will be the standards that everyone else will follow. And let it be a volume standard that everyone else will try to get to, but fail to meet. And therefore, then you have the privilege of not having been capped by past experiences. You have the challenge of setting and treading a new path. But even as we do that, I want to ask, and I'm giving you examples of those that have walked these paths and have done things that no one else thought possible. I know Kimberly for diligence. Even as we start, I really do hope that you listen to her experience and from that experience, craft a path that you will follow. Only you, because I'll tell you that in the path of life, only you can play a drum. And with that, I am most privileged to welcome Kimberly. Kimberly, welcome to Tom Mboya University. Welcome to CMG, Argus College School of Faculty of Law. And I confirm to you that you are the very first event we have held. And then we also confirm that we are streaming this live on YouTube, and it will form part and parcel of our records for eternity. And with that, I welcome you to introduce yourself even further, where I have not whatever, and tell us more. And please feel free to inspire as much as you can. Karibu sana, and thank you.
Asante sana. Thank you. Wow, that is a very wonderful introduction. I hope you can hear me. I think there's a bit of a lag. Before I start, how do I give you back the host's capabilities?
Click on my name, and if you click on my name, then I have the power to.
Okay.
If you click, then they'll allow me to. Yeah. Thank you. And
Okay. Sorry. So just bear with me for a minute.
so that we don't have trouble. Can I click? Did you?
Yes. Yeah.
You did not. I'm logged in at CMG Admin Project.
Yes. Now you're the host. Yes. All right. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for making the time to be here this morning. I don't know, for me it's morning, but for you, I know it's mid-afternoon. Thank you very much, Professor Amwara, for this opportunity, and it's such an honor to hear that I am the first person that you're hosting, and that is indeed an honor for me. I would say that for me, this opportunity is very humbling. And why I say it is humbling is because, as Professor Amwara said, we have walked the journey with him. And as I continue, you'll get to hear about my journey, about, it has not all been rosy. Today, I come to you from Oxford, very privileged to be in this position. But I hope that as we have this conversation, that there are a few things that you'll pick. And one of the main reasons I'm very delighted to give this talk is that it also gave me an opportunity to reflect. And sometimes we do not reflect because we are busy with every season of our life. But when you sit down and you think about how far you've come, then you actually do take some time to think about, wow, this has been amazing. And so, first of all, allow me to congratulate all of you as the founding class of this wonderful law school. As Mwalimu has said, you are going to chart your own path. You're going to create your own opportunities. But the fact that you are here already is a great testament of who you are and of your hard work. And this is only but the beginning. And when I was thinking about this, it just reminded me of my first week at Moy University School of Law. And this was in 2016. That first week, that first month is still very clear in my mind because there was a lot of anxiety, there was a lot of fear as well, excitement, but there was also a lot of anxiety. And my main worry was at that particular point, everyone was saying about how the market is flooded as a law student. Why would you go and do law? We have so many lawyers, you know. And at that point, you're just starting your law school, and these are the things you're hearing in the news, in the media. But just to encourage you that the market is not flooded. And if I just take an example of our class, we have, when I look back at all the great things that my classmates have done, we have great litigants, we have people working in-house, we have people working for the government, or you could be like me, working for a higher education institution. So just to tell you that this is the beginning, that your law degree is a setting stone. It's a foundation that will unlock whatever you want it to unlock. And again, as it was said in my introduction, currently I work for the University of Oxford in the research team. And one of the founding stones of me getting this job is my law degree from a Kenyan institution, something that I'm very proud of. And that is just to start this conversation by encouraging you that you have made the right decision and that your law degree can open the doors you want it to open for you. So do not, if you have any anxieties, and maybe I was the only one who had these anxieties in my first year, but do not have any kind of anxiety about where to go, what will happen. As we'll be talking about my journey, you get to see that you get to choose what you want your degree to be. You get to choose what you want your career to be. It can be the traditional path. It can be something completely new that no one has done, no one has tried. That is for you to choose. And so again, just congratulations, a very, very big congratulations for making this decision and for being a founding class, for being the trailblazers. I think one of the beauty of being a founding class is that as long as history remains, we'll always look back at the founding class of Tom Mboya University School of Law, and you are now part of that history. So congratulations. I want to begin by talking a little bit about my early life. And as Mwalimu said, the topic that we are looking at today is treading paths untrodden in pursuit of excellence. And I grew up in Nakuru to a single parent household. My father was around but not around, if that makes sense. He was not a key figure in my life. And I would say that his absence, to some extent, was a very key thing in my life that made me really want to pursue excellence. But in the same light, when I was thinking about it, growing up, I did not know of any lawyers in my small village in Nakuru. I did not know of any lawyers in my immediate circle of family. So I would say I didn't have someone I'd say that I could look up to, and things were a bit different than they are now. Now things are very different. You have, even if you don't know personally of a lawyer, you have so much access in terms of social media, in terms of the networking and things like that, LinkedIn, all these other avenues. I didn't have that growing up. But I did have someone who really motivated me, and this was my English teacher. And whenever I write a motivational statement for anything, or whenever I give any story about my life, she features very key in my story. Because when I was just in class 5, she saw something, she saw a potential in me. I was a very timid young girl, very shy, but she saw that I had some potential in me. And so slowly she started giving me poetry, and she would tell me to go to, when we have the school assemblies, I'd have the poetry to read to the school. And at that point, I really didn't understand the motivation. Why was she doing this? But every other Friday, she would have me up on Fridays at the school assembly reading a poem. And little did I know that she was setting me up for the international stage. At that point, I could not see it, but she was cultivating something in me. She was cultivating confidence in me. She was cultivating the fact that I have a voice. There's something that I can say for those 2 minutes, those 3 minutes. And slowly I became very confident, and I was happy to take up opportunities when they came. And I will fast forward this to 2014. Again, asking myself, why was I reading poems when I was in class 5, class 6 to my school? Again, fast forward to 2014, and there I am, standing in what is called, it is now has a different name, but it was called the Room 20 in the UN office in Geneva. And there, my teammate and I were presenting our case, and the panel was made up of real judges. It was made up of renowned scholars, legal scholars. And from that shy little girl, here I was on an international stage presenting a case. And I would say one of the key things that really shaped my experience was the moot court competitions. And this brings me to the second bit that I would really want to talk about, and it's about engaging with opportunities that we find and seeking out these opportunities. When I joined law school, again, as I said, there was that bit where I was a bit unsure about where is this going to go? What am I going to do with myself? But one thing I knew for a fact is that I wanted something more than just going to class, coming home, revising, writing my exams and doing very well in those. But I wanted to define my law journey. I wanted to define my 4 years in undergraduate. What does that look like? And I was very privileged that at that particular point, the School of Law at Moi had a very good mooting society. We had students who, at that particular point when we joined, had just come back from Oxford, where they had participated in the Oxford Prize Media Moot competition. And some of these things you can write them down and maybe look them up later after this talk. And I'm sure most of you might know what moot court competitions are, but just to give a bit of background, this is where you're given a hypothetical case. You go research, you prepare a memorandum of arguments, as well as getting an opportunity to present these cases before a court. And when I joined and I heard that these students had gone to Oxford, I was like, wow, you mean you can actually travel fully funded by someone else? It's like, yes, this is for me. And I was like, yeah, let me try this. Let me try this mooting and see what it's all about. And so slowly I started the moot court competitions. When I started, I was really not good at all. But I found a lot of encouragement from the faculty then. I found a lot of encouragement from other students that had gone before me and had done these moot court competitions. And through that, as Professor Amara has told you, I was able to participate in a few that we actually did very well in. And that is how I met him when we did the ICRC moot court competition. And through this opportunity, through these moot courts, I was able to find out that, wow, I actually do really enjoy international law. I really enjoy research. I really enjoy sticking my head into these complex legal issues and getting an opportunity to argue for both sides. As we had, most of the time, you'd have an opportunity to present the case on both sides. And for me, this was a life-changing experience. It meant a lot of work, definitely, from my end, because I had to attend classes. I also had to prepare for these moot court competitions. But more than that, it gave me a global outlook. It gave me global exposure. And so this is why I would encourage us to seek out these opportunities. You have a great faculty, and I know there will be so many opportunities, but sometimes you have to engage with these opportunities. You will see many advertisements for there's a moot court, there's a essay competition here, there is a debate here. You have to engage with those opportunities, because if you don't engage with said opportunities, then they don't really have an impact in your life. And just to further say how this experience shaped my journey this far, is that in 2014 we went for this moot court competition in Geneva, and in one of the preliminary rounds we met some colleagues from the University of Lausanne, which is also in Switzerland, and they encouraged us to apply for a summer school the next year. So 2015 summer, we went for this summer school for 3 weeks, and my then schoolmate, Professor Kilonzo, Dr. Kilonzo, we spent 3 weeks there, and more than just going to class, gaining, human rights knowledge, something very important happened to me. And here I met a Namibian student who was studying at Oxford. And at that point, he had come to this summer school as a teaching assistant. And by the mere fact of meeting him, it sparked something in me. And we had conversations. And I remember when he was really encouraging us to apply to Oxford, telling us about scholarships. He was a Rhodes Scholar at that particular point, telling us about these opportunities and that they are there for you. And at that particular moment, when I looked at him, I saw myself in Oxford. So this is 2015. That is when, for me, the dream to be in Oxford was birthed. I knew at that particular point, seeing him, it was like, I thought Oxford and the rest, Cambridge, Yale, the elite institutions are meant for very few people, not people like me. I had not seen myself in that position. So, but by seeing him, representation, and I think this is why we do say representation matters. And I hope that by the end of this conversation, if you do not take anything else out of it, is that you saw someone like you saw someone who you could identify with, who has gone to these places, who has gone to the University of Cape Town, who is at Oxford, and you can see yourself in those spaces. So this student really had an impact in my life, because he made me think of myself in Oxford. And so we had a conversation about Oxford, about what it looks like, and what it means, like what it looks like if you want to apply for your graduate studies. At this particular point, I think I was in second or third year, but now we are thinking about past my 4 years in undergraduate. How do I get to Oxford? So also now, again, that is the beauty of having a vision, because then that means you have to start planning. How are you going to get there? This is where you might want to be at some point. What do you need to do? What is the groundwork that you need to do now in your first year? And it starts as early as your first year. You want to excel. You want to make sure that at any given point, where at some point you will need to look back at your undergraduate and be asked to produce your transcripts, that you started early, that you put in the hard work right from the start. So just to, again, go back to the issue about opportunities are there, seek and engage. And the fact that through all these opportunities that you'll be seeking, you will get so much more exposure. Thinking back, if I had not taken up mooting to start with, I would not probably have ever met this Namibian student. I would never have had Oxford, as something that was in my mind, that this is something that I can do. And having said all this about, all these things that I've been able to accomplish, I just wanted to also highlight the fact that it has not all been rosy, and we have to be resilient. We have to be willing to shake ourselves off from setbacks and push forward. when I finished high school, again, you'll forgive me, my talk is forward, back, and everything. But anyway, so I'll take you back to when I finished high school. I did very well in my primary school. I went to Bahati Girls in Nakuru as well. And when I was doing my KCSE, I knew for a fact I was going to get a very strong, clean A. And my idea, the what I had in mind at that particular point was that I wanted to do medicine. But when the results came, I had missed the entry point for medicine by one, not two, but one point. And you can imagine how discouraging this was. But one thing I knew for a fact at that point was that I'm going to go to university, and whatever course I'm going to do, I have to be funded by the government because by the circumstances we are in, I could not afford to be a privately sponsored student. And so I had to go for my second choice through the Joint Admission Board, which was law. At this particular beginning, if you look at it and when you think about it, I would have chosen to say these things have not worked out the way I wanted. So I'll just go to law school, I'll just be there, tick a box, and after 4 years, get out and go. But I decided, no, this is what I've been chosen to do, and this is what I'm going to do, and I'm going to do it and do it well. Again, the benefit of hindsight is that I'm very glad that I did not get it into medicine because I've soon found out that I'm very queasy and the sight of blood does not go well down with me. So probably I would not have done that well in medicine. Anyway, that's besides the point. So that is the beginning of one of the earliest setbacks for me as a young girl growing up. I finished my undergraduate. Remember, in second year, third year, I've already decided I'm going to Oxford. And at that particular point, I only know one way to get to Oxford, and that's through the Rhodes Scholarship. So after my undergraduate, I was very privileged again. I got an opportunity to work for an investment company as a graduate trainee. And so I was studying. I was doing my Kenya School of Law at that point. I was working, and on the side, I was busy applying for graduate school because I knew this is where I want to do. This is what I want to do. I want to go to Oxford. So the better part of 2016, I spent preparing for my Rhodes application. Most of you might know about the Rhodes Scholarship. It's a very prestigious scholarship that sends students to Oxford for it's a fully paid up scholarship, very prestigious. It has produced among the highest number of presidents, and yeah, it's really remarkable. I did very well in the initial stages, and I got to the very end where I was shortlisted for the final interview. But the blow came when I didn't receive this scholarship. To put it in perspective, we were about, I think, 11 finalists, and they were only choosing 2 students to go on to Oxford. So I did not get this, and I was very, very discouraged. But again, resilience, picking yourself up. In between that time and 2019, when I actually went to Cape Town, I did more than I cannot even remember the number of applications that I did. I did so many applications for master's programs in very good universities. Some I got accepted, but I did not get the funding. I could not afford the tuition, but I kept on trying. And here I have to say, Professor Amara was one of my referees, and he was always ready, to give me a reference, because I had to apply so many times. And at some point, I almost gave up. And I think the importance of giving a holistic story and not just highlighting our wins, but also highlighting some of these low moments is that it's the reality of life that there'll be those high moments, there'll be low moments, but what matters is what you do when you're at those low moments. So in 2019, I was able to go to Cape Town, do my master's, and it was an absolutely fantastic experience. I got an opportunity to work with very great legal minds. I really enjoyed my time in Cape Town. Again, growing up, I did not know anyone who had gone to the University of Cape Town, which is ranked very highly in Africa. This was not something that I had seen. So this was a path I had to make for myself. Fast forward again, after my master's, I came back to Kenya. We had, of course, the COVID-19 pandemic. But at the same time, I still felt in me that there's something still missing. There's something still missing. And so in 2020, again, I decided to do 2 applications. And I was like, these are probably my last 2 applications for school. And I did 1 application for a PhD to the Geneva Institute. And I did another application to Oxford. And the idea was I'd get to Oxford, do another master's, and then think about whether I really want to do a PhD. And in January 2021, on the 14th of January, I remember this day because it was a very interesting day. On the same day, I got 2 emails, 1 rejection, 1 acceptance. The rejection came around 10 a.m. in the morning, and it was from the graduate school in Geneva where I had not been successful. And of course, that was very discouraging because that is something I had also really put a lot of effort in, and I thought it makes sense for me to do a PhD now. Later in the day, I get an acceptance letter to Oxford, and that for me was, I just had to take a bit of time because it was not about this acceptance letter, but it was more about the journey that had started more than 5 years back. The journey that had started in 2015 when I had the idea that I could actually go to Oxford. And in 2021, January, getting an acceptance letter into Oxford. And by July of that year, I got 2 fully funded scholarships to Oxford. And now it was actually a matter of me choosing which scholarship do I want to go with. I got a scholarship by the Oxford Cambridge Society. And I also got another scholarship by the Africa Oxford Initiative, AFOX. And now it was for me to choose which scholarship do I want. And at that point, it was a testament of resilience. And so I got an opportunity to come to Oxford. And more than that, I chose the AFOX scholarship because more than getting the funds to come to Oxford, I got a community. I got a wonderful community in Oxford of Africans who were talking about, who were sharing the same kind of challenges, what it meant for us to actually get to Oxford. And once we got here, it was also now a matter again of representation. How do we also encourage other students on the continent that this is a place for you, that you have a place in Oxford, and that once you get to Oxford, there are challenges that you'll face, but also just believing in yourself that you have worked hard and that you deserve to be in this place. As soon as you get to Oxford, you know that you also earned your place. And so that was a really great testament of resilience. And I think I'd want to finish very briefly now, and we can also have a bit of time for questions. I think the key takeaways, if you don't remember anything from what Kimberly said today, I would want you to remember just 3 things. The first is about opportunities, is about seeking opportunities, engaging with opportunities. And this will not just be in your undergraduate. This will generally be everywhere you go in life, that there'll always be opportunities, but you have to seek them. You have to be proactive and you have to engage with those opportunities. And if I can also give another example, that also once in Oxford, I did my master's in science in refugee and forced migration. And when I was just about to finish, I was thinking about, okay, so what is next? And I started again looking for opportunities, seeking opportunities. And I saw the School of Law had this fellowship where they were funding students. They had a list of institutions that they were working with, and they would fund students for 3 months to go to these institutions and work there. Again, at that particular point, I was not at the School of Law department. I was in international development. And I saw this opportunity to go to UNRWA So and work in the legal office in Jordan. And the first thing was like, wait, but this is being advertised for the law students. I'm not in that department. But I said, let me give it a go. Let me give it a try. And in the job description of what they were looking for, I remember distinctively one thing they had said is that you need to be if you know Arabic, that that would be a very good trait for you to have. And so when I was doing my application, I was like, I'm very passionate. I'm doing refugee studies. I'm very passionate about refugee law and about making a difference in refugees' lives. Um, it was well within my purview. This is what I'm studying. I have written extensively about it. I am passionate about it. I had everything. I was ticking all the boxes. But then this one thing, but I don't know Arabic. I don't speak Arabic. Should I really put in my application? Anyway, I did put in my application. I was called for an interview, and they were like, "Yeah, we'll get back to you in a few weeks." And the whole time when I was waiting for the response, I just kept on thinking about that Arabic. I'm like, I don't know Arabic, so probably I won't get this opportunity. But guess what? I got the opportunity. I got 3 months fully funded by the University of Oxford through the Bonavero Institute of Human Rights, and they sent me to Jordan. And I spent 3 months in Amman in the legal office, working as a lawyer in the legal office in Amman, very close to where all these things that I'd been reading about. And as you progress with your studies and you get to do refugee law, you will also get to understand, and of course, I'm sure you are very aware about the crisis and the conflict in Palestine. But being able to be to be there at that particular point was because I sought the opportunity. I engaged with the opportunity. It would have been very easy to see the opportunity and disqualify myself because, again, remember, I didn't know any Arabic, which according to me was what was going to disqualify me. But the opportunities are there. So engage with those opportunities. So again, I was finishing that seek opportunities, engage with opportunities. You have a great faculty. If you have any question, make sure you make use of your faculty, make use of your lecturers and ask questions. They have so much to offer, but you have to engage, you have to seek. The second thing is that you need to work hard. You need to set yourself up, set those foundations in your academic life, but also these are things that you're going to set in motion for the rest of your life. The hard work, that has to be key and parcel of everything that you do. And lastly, that you need to be resilient, that we would all hope that life would be very smooth sailing, but that is not always the case. That we need to be resilient, that there'll be moments where we'll be knocked down, but we have to pick ourselves up. So thank you again for joining. Thank you for listening. And I'm wishing you the very, 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 very best as you start this exciting journey. And back to you, Mwalimu. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Anania. I don't know whether you people know how to clap on Zoom. There are go to react and then there are reactions. There's a place where you can clap. So let's clap on behalf of us. But we have a few. We will follow with some few questions. Then I have seen that our vice chancellor has logged in. So at the end of those question and answers, we'll ask our vice chancellor to say a few words, and then we'll have a vote of thanks from the faculty and the students. But first, let me ask you, Nani, maybe from Moy University, what do you think was the most what defined your experience at Moy and that have direct you towards this where you are? And what would you ask students to do if they wish to take this trajectory? Number one. Number two, law is not just about going to court. Could you just express other pathways that a lawyer could explore after getting their first degree? Thank you, Kimberly. Continue, but I'm asking all of us because not everyone can speak. I want to ask that one, if you want to speak, just raise your hand. Number one, but it will be easier if you type your questions on the chat. Then I can dig it out. Just chat, just put your questions on the chat, and then I will read it out. In the meanwhile, let's start with those from myself. Those two questions for you, Kimberly. Thank you. Kimberly, you good? Just unmute yourself. Yes. Oh, you can't unmute yourself again. Okay.
Dean, how are you?
I'm fine, and you?
I'm well.
Yes, please say a few words as you welcome Kimberly, and then we will have the question and answers. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, thank you. Good morning, Kimberly. Good morning.
I'm going to ask her to unmute. Let me see if I can get her to unmute.
Yeah, she does need to, unless she's not getting me, but
yes.
I think,
Good morning. Good morning. Sorry, I could not unmute myself. Yeah.
yes, good morning.
Good morning.
I'd already posted my feelings on the wall,
Yes.
which you're going to see, but I want to tell you that I'm overwhelmed and excited. You know, this is what you say decency in giving back to your community. You know, by talking to these our sons and daughters, starting their journey in life, and accepting within your busy and tight schedules, I know you have done us proud. As an institution, our interest is to build a global community in terms of professionals and academic. And therefore, what you've done and you're doing and the encouragement you've given to these young people and to us as an institution, we are very happy. You know, these people are young, they are pioneers, but you know, this is also pioneering faculty, and the university is less than 10 years. Therefore, you can see that we are struggling to fit in the bigger arena of the big boys and girls doing great things in the world and locally for the benefit of humanity. Therefore, I am excited because I went to a neighboring university from Oxford. That was the University of Liverpool.
Oh, okay.
And the first time I was in Oxford, I came to visit a classmate who was doing her PhD in Oxford, and currently she's a very senior person in government, where she did her PhD in the refugee-related faculty and department. This Monica Juma. So I came there and surprise, being a very good friend, classmate. You can imagine two Africans, male and female, sharing a room and doing nothing because you are brother and sister.
Yeah.
And because of the course and your students.
Yes.
So, and that is where I also realized that the professors and the scholars there are so down to earth that the senior, older, young scholars are living with students in the hostels. And I hope that tradition still continues, and the Friday dinner for the staff and students where they are trained on etiquette is still continuing.
Yes, it does. Yes.
So having said that, Kimberly, you have made us proud, and I hope and pray that our students and faculty, and I want to tell you that there are people in this meeting who are not even faculty students. They requested me if they can also join, and I told them, join.
Yeah.
And in this world, there are also the board members, the council members of the university, the people who actually run the university, the owners of the university. There are also the non-university community members, because I decided to advertise this thing far and wide. And for one, made you and Omara my status for 24 hours. So I hope you are not going to take me to court.
No, that's very much all right.
Yeah, therefore, I want to thank you very much and appreciate you. and wish you all the best. And if there is in any way this young faculty can be assisted in terms of material, in terms of faculty exchange, in terms of visiting scholars, in terms of anything that you think would give us the opportunity to also reach where Oxford has reached, we'll highly appreciate. So thank you very much, and sorry for taking slightly longer than I was given, but
No, thank you
you
very
are
much.
welcome and be part of the Tom Mboya University and CMG family.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Very honored.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Well, thank you very much.
Yes.
We are most grateful for your support and for being here. And maybe Kimberly wants to react to some of the comments the Vice Chancellor made, and also the two questions I asked. I am asking that you type your questions on the chat, and then, but if you want to speak, we will give anyone who has to speak 1 or 2 minutes. And but you have to let me know by raising your hand. Kimberly, continue as I find out if there are other people who want to ask a question. Dr. Odhiambo, I see you here. Thank you very much. I have apologies from Fiona. You must know her. She was
Yes.
Yes. And then I can also see people from even I can see Assis and others from Moi University. They have also come in. Thank you very much. So and then as I seek to see if there are any. So the first question was: is there what was the most defining thing? And then I think you remember the second question, and then probably also what was the hardest, the most difficult experience for you at law school?
All right. Thank you. And thank you to the VC for joining us and for those very kind words. For me, it is actually an honor to have this opportunity to speak to all of us. And as I said, as I was preparing for this, it was also a moment for me to reflect. And so thank you for that opportunity. I'd say for me, one of the most defining moments in my law school was number one, again, as I said, the moot court competition. And the reason I say that more than the experience to travel was the experience of getting to read, to research, and to find out what I'm passionate about. We have such great minds here, and you'll find that even as you're studying, there are things that you'll be drawn more towards than other things. And I think that is very important for us as we are starting to realize, what am I passionate about? What do I really enjoy? And it might be you find yourself that it's labor law that you really find the cases interesting and the reasoning of the court very interesting. It might be something else. And why that is important, because you sort of then also start thinking about what do I want to do? Where do I want to go? And for me, I found out that I really did enjoy research. I really enjoyed having about 10 or 15 research papers, reading those and summarizing and finding out what was this saying and how can I compare that to the other thing. And that has been very defining in terms of even my choice when I was doing my dissertation in undergraduate. Most people would find it, by the time we got to fourth year, you needed to write your dissertation. And most people got to fourth year and they were not sure what they wanted to write about. But for me, I had already identified that I want to write something in the emerging area of refugee law. And at that very early stage, I'd already started collecting papers, reading, asking questions, something that was not particularly what was being taught in class, but there was an emerging area. And if I can give a good example, like right now, we are, of course, in the age of artificial intelligence. We are in the age of, there are so many emerging technologies. There are so many things that are emerging. But over and above that, there are policy issues that are emerging around those things. There are legal questions emerging around those issues. So I think for me, the moot court competitions helped me develop that aspect of research and finding out that I actually do enjoy research. So I'd say that was a defining aspect, a defining moment for me in my law school journey. And to answer the question about what was perhaps one of the most difficult or challenging times would not necessarily be when I was doing my undergraduate, but when I finished actually, and now I was juggling going to school, going to Kenya School of Law, and again, as I said, doing all these applications at the same time. I did find that quite challenging. In undergraduate, you're very privileged to have a community. You have your friends with you, you have your classmates, so you do have some sort of support community. But then immediately after that, I felt that that was lacking. And my hope is that even as you continue in your journey in the 4 years, that you also get to associate yourself with people who add value to you, and people who that sort of support system, the people you can actually, when you get together, you're not just talking about football and things like that, but people you can actually go to and say, you know what, I really did not understand what was going on in this particular class, and sort of building each other up. So I realized the importance of that when I did not have it. I don't know, Mwalimu, if you want me to take the question in the chat.
You can, but I also ask the different pathways for law.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, thank you. And I want to highlight even Nairobi Remand has joined, and there's Sedan is an inmate of a regional Nairobi Remand home. So are you ready? Is the question. You can attach that an email as well. Thank you very much for coming, Sedan, and we wish you well.
Yes. So in terms of the pathways, again, as I said, there are many different things that you can do with your degree. As I said, in my class, we have, when I look back in the class of 2016, we have many outstanding advocates, litigants in courts. But again, you can choose that is not the path for you. As I said, when I finished my undergraduate, I got an opportunity to work for an investment company. And in that space, I went in-house. So in-house lawyers is also that's another pathway. And once I went into an investment company, more than just being a legal mind, I had to become a tax mind, because tax is all about all the tax laws. So you need an understanding of the law, but you also need to understand the finance bit of the taxes. So there's so many opportunities as well, like in as an in-house lawyer. It is just not one straight path. It's so many different things encompassed in one. You can also decide to be a researcher. You can go to there are many think tanks, there are many places where they need a legal researcher. Again, as I said, if research is something that you're passionate about, we have so many institutes that are doing a lot of research and using their findings to impact policy. So you can work in the policy field through your legal research. We also have and I'm sorry, I don't have any reference for that, but I know we have so many cases where even courts, when they're doing their judgments, will refer to publications that have been done. So you have influenced a decision based on the research that you have done. So those are just about very, very, very few things that I can think about. We also have research contract specialists like myself at the moment, and we have so many institutions at the moment who really need people to look at their contracts. We have higher education, we have pharmaceutical companies, we have so many different companies. They all need proper contracts put in place. And the unfortunate bit usually comes when, let's say, for example, an institution does not have proper contracts people in place, and they just enter into contracts. And then at the very end, when a transaction goes wrong, and now we start reading the fine print, and they find that they agreed to something that was not beneficial to them. And so as you're sitting in your contracts 101, know that those are key foundation to a career at some point. And yes, I think those are the ones that come to mind at the top of my mind. But definitely you can use your legal career to become so many other different things, and also venture out. You can use that as a stepping stone to do something different, completely different if you choose to, because the skills that you get as a legal mind, those are transferable skills that you can use in any other field if you choose so.
Further question.
Yes. Okay, I think the first question is about how artificial intelligence is reshaping the law landscape at the international level. Thank you for that question, because this is something that is very it's very important for us to discuss at this particular point, where everyone is using AI, and AI is the big thing, and that is where, you know, there's also fears about, is artificial intelligence going to replace us as lawyers? And this is something that I can say very confidently that no, it is not. And the reason I do say this is, if you I have a very simple and simplistic understanding of AI, but what I know so far is that it is predictive, and it is using the information that is out there to give you answers. Just that it does it at you know, so much faster than a person could have. But at the same time, it also means that it has biases, it has inconsistencies, it has incompleteness. And I don't know if you've also heard about the fact that it can lie very it can lie very confidently, because if it doesn't have information, then what it does is that it makes up things. And if you just do a quick search about AI and courts and cases, you'll find that there have been cases where advocates and legal professions, I'm speaking from the UK perspective, where solicitors and barristers have gone to court and given submissions that were AI generated, and the AI has gone and made up cases. It has gone and made up, absolutely fabricated a case, and it has said it in such a clear way, you know, that it looks like it's a real thing. And once they've submitted their submissions, when the judge looks at this, they're like, this does not exist. I would also encourage all of us to go and look at the case of Deloitte, Australia, where Deloitte was contracted by the government to do a task. And unfortunately, when they were doing the report, they used AI, and they did not fact check that report. And it had so many errors. It had made up so many research papers. It had made up so many cases that did not exist. And Deloitte actually had to refund the government a lot of money. And you can imagine what does that for them in terms of the reputational risk. So AI is good and we can use it, but it does not replace your mind. You can use it to summarize something. You can use it to, you know, ask it to rephrase something for you, but it does not take away your thoughts. It does not take away what you are thinking. So let us also be very let us think about it from this perspective, that it cannot replace the human mind. And I'd encourage us that AI will not replace lawyers. We can use it as lawyers. We can use it as a tool to aid us, but it does not replace your thinking. It does not replace how you look at things. Thank you very much. Thank you for that question. And yes, I don't know if we have any other questions.
Let me see if there's any hand raised. I can't see any hand. I cannot see any hand. But even as you do that, one thing I have shared with these students, at least in the class, Advocate Elijah, I can see you. Dr. Orondo, I can see you. Thank you very much for coming in. And I just wanted to say this, we are at a point where we are sharing with them our experiences, because we've gone to the end. The part they're about to embark on, we have embarked on. It may be different. The nuances of the journey they are going to take is going to be different, but the general outlay is out there. And I told them a story of this young man, and and his the book he was the story he always loved following of some police man who was very good at dealing with crimes until Pagu akapata papaguzi. So he got someone who made and taught him lessons for a long time. So this book was different from the others. The hero became so humiliated to a point where this young man wanted to stop reading his book, but he decided not to stop reading the book. He went to the end of the last two chapters and he saw how glorious and marvelous the police or the policeman ends up humiliating and overcoming the Kwaguzi. So that way he decided now to go back to the book, and he says anytime he went back to where he was about to leave, and anytime he saw the policeman humiliated, he would say in his mind, he would say without realizing that if only you knew what I know, because he already knows the end of the story. We are talking to you because we have had the privilege of working this path, and we are telling you that it pays to be diligent. We are telling you it pays to get involved in moot courts. And then just to let you know that we are coming up with our inaugural moot court competition on the 31st. I have had a few people volunteer to train them on these moot courts. But not just about moot courts, we are also going to ask them to engage in many other things, including even French competitions, because we teach them French as well. We have a dream to do well. We have a dream to direct you people to those directions. I want to ask that you choose to listen. Otherwise, it doesn't need 1,000 words. They only need a few words to let them walk the path that they all need to do. I have been told that on behalf of, we will have a vote of thanks from a student, and then a comment from Dr. Odhiambo, one of the founding faculty. And then we will give this back to you for a closing remark, and then we will bring this to an end. So let me ask, I've been told that the one who is speaking is on behalf of everyone else is Simeon, is it? Simeon Ogola, is it true? Simeon, are you here? Let me see if I can get you and unmute you. I just say a few words because I've looked for comments, I've not seen any. So Simeon, I am asking you to unmute yourself. Can you? I have asked you to unmute yourself. Can you unmute yourself and speak? And then we have Dr. Odhiambo, and then we'll come bring this to a close by a few words for the last words from Kimberly. Please, Simeon, yes, go on. Yes.
I want to say thank you on behalf of the law students for Kimberly for the great information that you've given us. First of all, since we started the moot procedure, the moot questions, most of the time we've seen it very tedious because combining it with the works of the class, you see they are a bit, you see as if they are heavy. So we've not found it very easy. So at least you've motivated us on the ways that we are going to use to tackle this. And also on the case that you've given us, Deloitte versus Deloitte Australia. This has given us caution on this IT use. Many a times we may take it as a shortcut means to go through this, but now I think we've understood it. We've understood it, and we are going to take some caution to prevent it. Maybe just to minimize the use at all times. Lastly, I want to thank you for your time. You've enabled us get the right thing. And also, I take the time to thank our Dean, Mr. Wamwara, for the effort that you've made, at least to give us the opportunity to speak to such a person from Oxford University, and also the VC for the opportunity that for your time that you've taken to be with us in this meeting. All of that, I thank you all, and may you be blessed.
Thank you very much. This class is 65%, 2/3 ladies, and therefore it will be unfair if we just have one person speak. Matum, do you want to speak on behalf of all the ladies? I'd asked Mary, but she's not available. She says she can only follow on YouTube. Celestine, would you want to say something on behalf of the ladies? And thank you very much. Thank you. Go on. Simeon, you can mute yourself. Mute yourself, Simeon, or I mute you. Let me see. Celestine, I've asked you to unmute. Can you? And just say something on behalf of the ladies. I'm thinking, or Rajab. Or I said no. It was not. It was my tomb. Yes. Or whoever is ready. So can you have Celestine say something? Yes, Celestine. On behalf of the ladies.
Hello.
Yes, speak.
I want to take this opportunity to thank our motivational speaker. She has really inspired us, and we are looking up to be more successful the way she is and put more effort in our work. And we also appreciate all of us who have taken their time and to have an ear on what she has been telling us. She's our role model because the way she narrated her story to us, it was so successful, and we are really looking up to be like her in future. Thank you.
Good afternoon. On behalf of the CMG Agwins Kodek Laws Faculty of Law at the Great Tomboy University, my name is Dr. Rogers Odhiambo. I want to take this opportunity to thank you most sincerely for finding time to speak to our students and, of course, to speak to us all. Thank you for sharing your amazing experience and wonderful exposure that you have had. Above all, I picked a few things. Resilience, your hard work, when you mentioned that encourage students to seek opportunities, but more importantly, also to engage with those opportunities. I think this is very, very encouraging for us. At least we students have been informed that the opportunities out there, not just here in Kenya, but of course at the region and also at the international level. So it's up to them really now to grab those opportunities and make the most that they can. We will be looking forward to having a fruitful engagement in the future. And of course, in the very, very near future, we will still be reaching out. We are humbled that at least you got an opportunity to speak to us out of your busy schedule. So it's about being aggressive, it's about knowing what one wants, and we are most encouraged. I personally didn't think that I could fit in at Oxford. I had an opportunity when I was in London to visit Oxford, particularly Christ College. I had a friend of mine who was there. I was shown buildings that were dating 400 years at the time, and I was really amazed. But I never sought opportunities, unfortunately. So I really, even myself, I got challenged that I never sought opportunities at Oxford, even though I was there and I walked the streets when I came to visit my friend at the Christ College. I even saw the cathedral, the Christ Cathedral, and all that. So wonderful. Thank you very much. We cannot, for sure, thank you enough. but we look forward for future engagement.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. We also appreciate our Dean, Professor Wamwara, for organizing this. And we also appreciate our Vice Chancellor for finding time even to attend this session. Thank you very much. So you have a wonderful day. We are most grateful.
Thank you. Thank you very much. And yeah, maybe I can just finish by just answering one last question that I saw in the chat.
Please. Yes, please. Go right ahead. Thank you.
Yes. And so the question was whether people should then put more effort into mooting than into their classwork. And let me just clarify that point, that no, we should put a lot of effort into our classwork, because the mooting is just over and above. But what is important is you really need to understand and to grasp what the foundations of law. As I said, currently my bread and butter is based on what I actually learned in my first year, Contracts 101. So I would encourage the students that put a lot of effort into your classwork, seek the opportunities, as we said, but that is over and above. But the key thing is make sure you have put in as much work as possible, get impeccable results. Because again, at the very end, if you want to apply for some of these graduate studies and the scholarships, as the faculty will let you know, these are merit-based scholarships. They are based on how well you did in your undergraduate. So you need to get all those A's, get all those A's, because you will need them at the very end when you'll be asked, give us your transcript. We want to see that you also did, let's say, for example, your contracts in Tomboya, but we want to see that you and another student who has studied, let's say in Malawi, you're also just as good, or someone who has studied in the States, you're also just as good. So yeah, just to clarify from the chat that it is good. The moot courts, all these opportunities, they're fantastic, but do not neglect your classwork. So again, thank you very much for the honor to speak to you. I'm indeed very honored, and I look forward to further engagements, and wishing you all the very best. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We remain most grateful. Thank you. Thank you, everyone.